Happy Wednesday, everybody. I am your host, Keisha Howard. I'm founder of Sugar Gamers, and I want to welcome you to the Collegiate Games Challenge presented by Gay Gaming's Professional and Raw Thrills. The Collegiate Games Challenge is a national competition honoring video game projects from innovative students across the United States. And it is my honor and privilege to journey with you tonight as we celebrate the talents and creativity of our community. The competition consists of 3 categories for gaming-focused students to participate in, with a total of $90,000 in prizes to be won. But before we begin our show for tonight, let me share a little about Gay Gaming Professionals and Raw Thrills. Gay Gaming Professionals is a leading organization of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender game industry professionals and enthusiasts from around the world. And since 2006, their mission has been simple: to promote, cultivate, and unite professional LGBTQ+ community with results-based content and programs focused on 4 key areas. That's education, expertise, employment, and entrepreneurship. They partner with organizations to provide academic scholarships to identify and cultivate the best and brightest game development and creator students who do community service in the LGBTQ+ community. I'd also like to recognize our presenting sponsor, Raw Thrills. Raw Thrills is a world leader in arcade video games. And since 2001, Raw Thrills has explored the intersection of the physical and virtual to bring the most thrilling, experiential arcade video games to everyone. Y'all know who Raw Thrills is. Stop playing. So anyways, they just released their interactive cinematic tour de force, Godzilla Kaiju Wars VR, to arcades everywhere. So big thanks to GGP and Raw Thrills. We are going to have an amazing lineup of outstanding students to honor tonight, and I am so glad that you, our viewers in the chat, are here to celebrate with us. So let's see who's over there. Who's gonna be talking to me in the comments? I'm gonna need y'all to be interactive here. What we got going on? I mean, I know I'm excited. I wish I had these things when I first started in the gaming industry, and just seeing people like GGP, Raw Thrills, all the people that are involved in this event come together for something like this, so exciting. So, yeah, let's begin. So, tonight, we are honoring student finalists whose projects made it to the final round of competition. There were many impressive submissions, so thank you for all who participated with your passion, your effort, and creativity. It is this pursuit that makes tonight so awesome. So our 3 categories, out of our 3 categories, we're going to begin with the business category. So in a real world challenge, finalists prepared go-to-market strategies for major upcoming video game releases, showcasing excellence in game marketing strategy and commercial planning. The business category is judged by our panel of industry veterans and leaders in the following criteria. So number 1 is originality of concept and strategic. We're doing this live, but the number 1 is originality of concept and strategic thinking. Number 2 is market fit and audience insight. 3 is feasibility and execution plan. 4 is competitive positioning. And 5 is clarity and professionalism of presentation. Our finalists excelled in demonstrating a deep understanding of the franchises, brand voices, target audiences, and competitive landscapes to craft go-to-market plans, budgets, and KPIs, researching and compiling a full assessment for opportunity proposals. But these proposals aren't just a series of slides and data points. Through creative presentation, students must compose a compelling story that furthers these games initiatives, sparking not just logical foundations, but also inspiring and exciting next steps while on camera. These competitive 10 to 15-minute pitches are succinct and in-depth, proposing realistic strategies and outcomes. Each brilliant idea promoting anything from influencer strategies, brand collaborations, localization efforts in new markets, and more to showcase what we always hope to see in our industry: creativity and strategy working hand in hand, connecting great games to great audiences. Let's congratulate once again our business category finalists. I wish that we could watch all of these submissions in full. They are outstanding. But we will get to talk to some of our judges about their process in choosing the winners of these submissions. We'll be talking to Cisco, Daniel, and Franco about everything that they were thinking about and looking at when it came to choosing the winners. So let's have this conversation. So excited to be speaking with you, Daniel. You have over a decade of experience in the industry, and you have good discernment when it comes to business, right? Like, we don't necessarily always think about business and games being compelling. So one of the criteria was feasibility and execution. Could you talk a little bit more about how you have discernment in that particular category?
Yeah, it's a really good criteria for us to have. You know, one of the pitfalls of being a brand marketer, of being a product marketer, is there's so many exciting and fun things we can do. We can do this activation, we can do this guerrilla marketing tactic, we can work with this celebrity, we can work with this influencer, and those things are fun. And sometimes they can also make you feel really special, but do they actually drive sales of our product? And so I think when we look at feasibility, we try and make sure that the marketer has connected the business opportunity with the activations that they're promoting, to make sure that these things actually drive the core action that we want, which is the economic success of our product.
Okay. So as you're thinking about that, you know, you also have to be competitive. So how do you sort of navigate what makes something competitive, or how developers think about competitive positioning?
Yeah, this is one of the things that you really want to see within a high functioning game studio, which is marketing and research's involvement from the very impetus of a game concept. You know, are we waiting until something is fully baked and then asking marketers to go out and find us a market? Or are we working together to actually understand what the market is, make sure that it's large enough, and then ensure that we're building a product and a marketing plan that go after that market? And when you say those things out loud, they sound pretty intuitive, but that doesn't mean that they always happen. And so reminding ourselves how important this is what makes sure that by the time it comes time to build a marketing campaign, that you're building on a solid foundation of a product informed by the market, which leads to a positioning that actually allows you to go out and execute marketing that drives towards that market. And this is really the number one thing we ask for as marketers is, can we please be involved earlier in the product process, the ideation process, the validation process, to make sure that by the time we get to market, marketing and product are holding hands with something awesome.
In a world where you want to play nice, I mean, competitive positioning feels like such a harsh sort of reality to face in business. What's one way that you would sort of recommend, especially new game developers, to navigate the idea of competitive positioning?
The first step is recognizing that you want to have your unique identity before you try and figure out what your identity is relative to the competition. If you can have a core idea of who you are, what you're great at, what your unique selling point is, and what your key differentiation is from the history of your genre, and have a true identity, then you can start to figure out, okay, now how do we distinguish that from our competitive set? So I always like to start with knowing who we are and who we want to be and what our DNA is, and then figuring out how we're going to position ourselves against the market. You know, Cisco speaking a little bit to how we think about audience insights as well. These things are hand in hand. If you know your market, if you know your audience, then you can have a positioning that you're sure that resonates with them, and then you can figure out how to angle it towards making sure that it sounds good relative to your competitors as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I mean, again, excellent insight. Excellent. Thank you so much, Daniel. So, Franco, I mean, you have had a very colorful career, you know, also spanning not only video games, but entertainment. When it comes to clarity and professionalism of presentation, what is it that you're looking for? And what is it that you're taking from these sort of two industries that overlap?
I love that you use the word colorful for my career, because That's what you get the blessing of working on great movies and great game. And that's what always very important to always remind us. We're talking about passion and fun and where you spend the time. And as a marketer, when you work on a go-to-market and a strategy, it's really important to balance that fun, the passion. Marketer needs to be great cheerleaders. That's their role in the organization, to the outside world, to rally the troops about an upcoming title. But also at the same time, you have to balance with the substance. And that's a lot of what I was looking at in this presentation, in the good mix we have between the videos and their overall submission is, are you exciting? Are you making the game and your plan and the ideas you have had very exciting, very relatable, but do you also have the substance underneath? Have you done the strategic work? Have you done the analysis that says this is feasible to do? Is the budget matching with the reality of what you can achieve? So it's actually real professionalism for marketers in gaming. It is about excitement and solid substance together.
Nice. And is there anything, that you're seeing today that these sort of emerging talents, these new developers, is there anything that they can take from, the experience that you have? Like your experience has spanned, quite a few years, like I said, in two different industries, or like they have a lot of overlap, but is there anything that you see today that developers can take into the future of their sort of professionalism?
Yeah, one thing that really stood out for me from some of the submission and in general, the overarching, those are people or students. So two things I really noticed in these submissions that really got me excited and really with a positive outlook for the future is their use of video. We live in a world of social media. The key tool for a marketer is video, actually mobile video first. And how they use video in some of the submissions really exciting and really relates to the audience. And it is about using the marketing tool to market the campaign, right? Talk about often about market the marketing or marketing the marketing. And that I think some really, really good examples in some of the Mario Kart submissions. The other one, which is a critical skill to have today and more in the future, is data visualization. That's when actually that kind of the passion and the sizzle comes with the substance. There were some great examples of really good strategic map, but they were presented in a very compelling way. They were colorful, they were solid, but also how you present data, it's not just a bunch of data, of bullet points on a slide, is you capture a visual that tells me I'm moving from here to there. This is why my strategy is compelling, because I'm attacking that empty quadrant. So data visualization is such a critical skill to have, and it's great to see, frankly, people are entering the industry or about to enter the industry, really master that way, know how to leverage data and know how to present the analysis from data in a compelling and strategic way.
I love that. Data visualization. All right. You heard it from Franco. I really appreciate those insights.
Thank you so much, Keisha.
All right. I am so excited to be speaking with you, Cisco, because you are another one of our judges that has overlapping experience, not only in the entertainment industry, but also in the video game industry. So I know that you have some really interesting insights on some of the criteria you had to use when looking at the submissions. So when you're thinking about market fit and audience insight, what is it that you're really looking at?
Well, I mean, you always have to start with the people that you're actually selling to, right? Because even the best idea in the world, if you don't find the people who are going to want to buy it, then we as people in the business of gaming are sort of missing the mark. And so it's always really important to understand who are the people that I'm going after? How do they live their lives? And what are the best ways that we can communicate that to them, right? A lot of the presentations did a fantastic job in creating these personas, which are essentially artificial people that we can track throughout their journey. So if person A has this kind of family life and this kind of education, and we have an idea of where they spend their time and how they spend their money, it helps us as marketers tell a better story to our bosses and our direct reports to make that recommendation of why we should do this kind of marketing plan that our contestants had presented to us.
Perfect. All right. No, I mean, super interesting. And like, how does that, so when you're focused so much on like your market fit and what audience is going to like your game, how do you stick to originality of concept and strategic thinking, because you want to follow trends, you want to be successful. I mean, this is business, right?
Mhm.
So how do you also like have a pairing with being original and being strategic?
That is the question, isn't it? So it's an easy win to say, let's throw more media at it, but we're all constrained by budgets and timing and competitive stuff that's out there. So to thread the needle of being original, right, doesn't necessarily mean you need to be creative, right? It's looking at what are those white spaces that we see and asking ourselves the questions, why is no one in that market yet, right? And so some of our teams that we're presenting, they chose to go in regions of the world that hadn't been penetrated before. And so one of the questions that they would have to ask is, why is it as empty as it is? Is it that no one has tried before, or it's just not a feasible way to go about it, right? Which really gives us an insight into how their strategic thinking needs to be, right? And we basically boil that down to, in order to get from A to B, what must be true? And that is really the heart of strategy. And it's through their explanations and in their presentations where they give us those justifications where we can make those business decisions.
That's excellent. That reminds me of something that I always think of in marketing at Sugar Gamers Labs, which is finding the void. You want to go to the empty spots to see why they're empty and see what can be filled there, instead of, going to the places that are already oversaturated. So thank you so much, Cisco. That is excellent insight. And I can't wait to discuss our winners. Well, thank you to all of our esteemed judges for talking to us about their criteria and their selection process. And now it's time to learn who the winners are. All right, so I know we are all virtual, but I need y'all to do some snaps, some claps, get it ready, because I'm about to announce who our third place winner is. And our third place winner is going to win $2,500. And it goes to Yoshi Accelerator from USC. All right, so congratulations. And now for our second place winner. All right, let's get it ready. Y'all ready? Y'all anticipating? The second place winner is winning $7,500, and it is going to Blue Shellers from UW. And now for our first place winner, winning $12,500. Students, mind you, students. The winner is Miga Musketeers from USC. Congratulations to our winners, and be sure to type in the chat to share your support for their amazing work. We'd also like to take this time to mention our honorable mentions for the business category, and that includes Launch Tactics, Collect and Cruise from University of California, Los Angeles. And, there's great talent everywhere. And GGP's programs and partnerships are about building bridges to and cultivating that talent. Since 2006, our mission has been simple: to promote, cultivate, and unite the professional LGBTQ plus communities and all the underestimated communities with results-driven content and programs focused on the 4 key areas that I mentioned earlier. So let's not forget education, expertise, employment, and entrepreneurship. And one of these endeavors is the Collegiate Games Challenge, with this collaborative competition that you've all joined us at today. So, and you can learn more. Make sure you go to collegiategameschallenge.com, and it's led by legendary developer Eugene Jarvis of Atari fame. Raw Thrills is best known for developing arcade games and machines, particularly based on iconic film IP. We also have Eisenberg Group. They're an AI and social first, fully integrated brand acceleration practice with 3 decades of expertise in creating and sharing brand stories for forward-thinking companies. And of course, we have A16Z Speedrun. and they back founders pushing the limits of tech and entertainment. We invest, A16, well, we all are investing in this talent, right? But A16Z invests in global startups that build experiences, products, and platforms shaping tomorrow's AI and creative landscape. Everything from groundbreaking tools in 3D, gaming, XR, and next generation entertainment. So, and let us mention Sensor Tower is the leading source of mobile app, digital advertising, and retail media, and audience insights for the largest brands and app publishers across the globe. So, yes, thank you to our sponsors. And now we're going to interview our first place winner with Hunter Wang. So excited.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And we're very, very excited to win the competition.
I'm sure you are. You just won $12,500. What you about to do?
Yeah.
What's all about to do with all that, those winnings?
Well, first of all, I'm definitely gonna share that with my teammate Sam. He couldn't be here today. He's in Taiwan at home, and time difference, I think it's now 6 a.m. in the morning maybe for him. So I'm pretty sure he's very, very excited.
All right. Well, I mean, of course you're going to share it with your teammates, or else you're going to have to answer to some, no, but I'm kidding. What would you say was one of the most challenging parts of this process?
I think the most challenging part is, as you know, we picked the game Marathon, and it's a very exciting challenge for the game for the studios as well. And we want to position ourselves in their shoes and really to see how we can best tackle the market from their perspective, and also from a player's perspective as well. So I would say that would be the most exciting challenge for us when we're working on it, and it kept us the brainstorm keep going, and we're having cool ideas left and right. However, in the middle, we do have to rein those creativities in to really look at the data and the marketplace and the positioning to make sure that our ideas are grounded.
I love that. I mean, you got to balance it out, but I think that's one of the most exciting things about working in games is that you have to put your mind in, the seats of everybody, the players, the investors, your team, the tech talent, and it seems like you thought of all of that wonderfully.
Thank you very much.
So and before we leave, what was the most fun? Because I know you had fun doing this.
Oh yeah. I would say we really had some fun when we were thinking, okay, how can we carry out this certain tactics to make it not crazy with budgets, but also have great impact. And we had a lot of fun with some of the new tools and different ways to market certain things and certain aspects of the game, and we loved it.
Perfect. I am so glad to hear that. And you got to have fun. And congratulations again, Miga Musketeers from USC.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank you.
You've
and
taken
congrats
the
to the
number
rest.
one spot. So this concludes our business portion of the evening. We'd love to know your perspective on your experience participating in this event so far. And before we move into the cinematics category, we'd like to take a short break to hear from Gordon and Christopher, who are at the forefront of bringing us this event.
Thank you, Keisha, and congratulations to our first ever Collegiate Games Challenge winners. Wow. So thank you for joining us. I'm Gordon Bellamy. I'm the CEO of GGP. I'm here with Christopher Kim, and we're just really proud to be here with you, just celebrating the next generation of top performers in business, interactivity, and cinematics in games. Hey, Christopher, why don't you tell them a little bit more about how this all came together?
Yeah, absolutely. So this all began as a simple conversation between Gordon and me on how we can empower students who are pursuing diverse careers in video games. Meeting my peers in GGP System Program and USC's Marshall Interactive Game Association, I really saw that there are many students who have the skills, the passion, and potential to make an impact in the industry. They just need the opportunity. And so I'd like to introduce the Collegiate Game Challenge. It's a national competition for video game focused students. There are 3 student categories, which we have a lot of passionate participants as well as winners. So the first category is interactive for video game projects, the business category for go-to-market strategic plans, and a cinematic category for video game trailers. And this wouldn't have been possible without the incredible support that we've had from industry leaders, professors, and dedicated partners. And this has been an incredibly rewarding experience. So I'd like to pass it over to Gordon to talk about Raw Thrills, our main sponsor.
Yes. Thank you so much to Raw Thrills, and especially to Eugene Jarvis, who really stepped up and saw how important it was to lift up this next generation. Like Christopher, who was also a game student and now all grown up helping bring this together. Now we're cultivating across the country our best and brightest, and you're getting to see some of them today. So thank you so much again to Raw Thrills, leading arcade company for this entire millennium, and to Eugene for stepping up. Thank you so much. Now back to you, Keisha.
Again, thank you, Gordon and Christopher, for your efforts, and to everyone at GGP and our presenting sponsor, Raw Thrills. Your time, effort, and support to build this event plays such an important role. And, it lifts us all up. It lifts up all this incredible talent. I'm inspired. I'm so excited to be a part of this community. The Collegiate Games Challenge encourages scholars to strive for excellence. It encourages everyone to curate their skills, creativity, and passion. And it's through this competition that we can push ourselves and celebrate all that we are capable of accomplishing. So let us continue the celebration in our next category, which is going to be cinematics. In this category, each team has produced a compelling video game trailer that stands out. Each video showcases an application in visual storytelling, game marketing, and promotional creativity. This competition field received top-tier submissions and were judged by industry experts from notable organizations and projects in the gaming space. Submissions were evaluated by the following criteria: editing and story flow. 3, use of game footage and assets. And 4, emotional impact and resonance. And last, production craft and technical execution. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from our finalists in the cinematics category. Those trailers were so awesome. You can tell that all the students worked so hard on their submissions. And before we find out who the top 3 placements are, we're going to be joined by some of our judges. Before we find out who our top 3 placements are, let's hear from our judges about the submission process and all the criteria they use to choose the final 3 winners. So, Leo, you've been working in the video game industry for how many years?
Over 25.
So in your 25 years, what has made you look at, what is it that you look at as it pertains to your discernment for what makes a good game or a good team or a good story?
You bet. I think, this clearly ties into the criteria about the originality and creative vision, right? I'm looking for the magic. I'm looking for the spark. I'm looking for, does this trailer communicate what makes the developers so excited about their vision? And, does that come through in the final product?
All right, then. And as it pertains to production craft and technical execution, what is it that you're looking at specifically?
You bet. So I think when I think about kind of all of this stuff, there's a clear through line, right? So they have a vision, they have an idea, they have something that they're passionate about. They're trying to figure out how to communicate it. So when you tie it into the craft and technical execution, really the measure is, am I doing my best job to tell that story? And is what I'm displaying, is it clear? Is it focused? Is it as exciting? Does it capture those moments really, really well? That's the stuff that I think, is most important.
Awesome. Is there like any through line that sort of excited you about all the trailers that you saw during this whole process?
You bet. I think, huge props to the students and everybody who's put all of their time, energy, and effort into this. They were able to communicate, hey, we're doing something that we love and we want to share it with you. And that's really the most important thing. And folks can tell when they watch it and they don't see it, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I missed something. But just massive props and kudos to the people who put it together, because they did a great job.
Thank you so much, Leo. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's exciting.
Scott, you've been in the gaming industry for over 20 years, and one of the things that you've done is editing. So, what is it that you saw about these cinematics? What do they tell you about editing and story flow, the use of game footage and assets? Like, what is it that you're really looking for here, especially with the experience you have?
I did start my career as an editor, and I still have a lot of passion in that area. Trailers are really made in the editing room. It's really, you're getting a combination of gameplay footage, you're getting different story elements, music, and it all might seem amazing when it's written on a page as a script, but it's really meaningless until you get into that bay and start putting this thing together. So that's the magic of how things come together, really happens with the editor working on the trailer, bringing the script, the concept, the creative to life. And a trailer is really, it's all about the pacing, the building of tension, how the story is unfolding over time, the combination of shots, how they relate to music, what's being said by a character or a narrator. That's all editing. That's what editing is. And that's how a consumer, a gamer, a viewer experiences the trailer. The editing is really probably the most important part of the aspect of how things are created and how they're experienced. So it's really a critical feature, and it really drives the experience that everybody else has from this trailer. So it's a key thing that we look at, and it's probably the most important aspect of putting things together.
Awesome. One of the things that I enjoy about trailers is that it gets you so excited about the game. It really gets you pumped up. So what gets you excited, and these new sort of new talent, these students, what gets you excited? Is there any new ingredients that you're seeing in cinematics that really stands out to you?
I think it was less about seeing new ingredients and more about seeing them starting to learn the craft. And you can see them starting to get a sense of how trailers are structured, how they come together, how they unfold, how they tell stories, the way that they started to use music to build drama, to build tension, the pacing out of shots, the shot selection, the use of different angles of gameplay to keep a viewer interested and intrigued. And you can see them starting to do things that you might see when you watch a movie trailer or another game trailer for a well-known AAA game. And you could see that, it's the beginning of these students' careers, and you could see them starting to develop those skills and put them to practice.
All right, that's exciting. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thank you.
How long have you been in the gaming industry, and what is it about cinematics that really speaks to you?
Well, I've been doing this for over 25 years and been a storyteller for much longer. And there is no category, I think, that captures and develops story and emotion and passion than gaming. Being able to not only be part of an industry that creates amazing work every day, but also to be able to actually play it and be with it and one with this creative community. It's quite magical and really powerful. And I hope to do it a really long time.
All right. So what does it mean, or how were you impacted emotionally when you went through these cinematics? Is it important for you to have like some sort of resonance with what you're watching, and how these students sort of incorporate that into their trailers?
Yeah, so the subject matter around connecting and creating something that emotionally resonates with the viewer in 60 seconds, maybe 120 seconds, is such a powerful skill in art to perfect. It's a lifetime effort. And some of these trailers we watched as judges, just at this early stage in their careers, are amazing. I was blown away by it. And that process of being able to communicate both the value of a character, usually as a player in a game, what am I playing? What's the character I'm going to be part of? The story, the idea of getting into what's the journey I'm going on. And gaming covers so many palettes, whether it's adventure, fantasy, puzzle, platforming. There's such a large canvas of submissions, and I was really proud to be part of seeing all that range. And then the last is the world and the environment, wanting to get into the space of the minds of these developers and these creators and the journey you're going to go on. Gaming sometimes can be emotionally able to escape, and also gaming sometimes just be a great way to challenge and connect with others. So being able to convey that emotional connection of whatever the value of the product we're playing can connect with can really make a difference about how to bring in an audience and get them excited to jump on in.
Very cool. I mean, the trailers definitely have me excited. So thank you so much for sharing your experience. I mean, 20 plus years, like, I would think that you would know a thing or two. So thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, totally.
Wow. I mean, this was incredibly informative to me, and I hope to all of you as well. Thank you so much, judges. And this tees us up to perfectly announce the selection of our top 3 finishers in the category of cinematics. So in third place, we have, and their win, $2,500. Would You Love Me If I Were a Worm from USC? Yeah. All right. And in second place, winning $7,500, it's Smoke Break from USC. Woo-hoo! And now we're going to announce our first place winner for $12,500, and it's Juvenate from SCAD, or is it SCAD? So we'd like to take this time to mention our honorable mentions for the cinematics category, and that would be Chef Nia from Indiana University. So, and we also have, and that's for game footage. And for our emotional impact, we have Notes for Likeness from University of Southern California. Another honorable mention we have is for technical execution is Velocity from Drexel University. And lastly, for originality, Discretion, or no, it's Desecration. Desecration from Indiana University. So we'll be sitting down with our winner in just a minute to see how they feel. But first, let's take some time to talk about some of the programs and events that GGP offers. So I want to talk about System Scholars. System Scholars is a leadership grant program that awards money to underestimated graduate students at USC, NYU, and Carnegie Mellon, and provides a 6-month professional development curriculum, including skills development and industry networking sessions. We also have the GGP Scholars, Compassion. GGP is a grant program that provides students vital financial support, a robust 6-month curriculum, and a network of gaming professionals to prepare them for a career in games. Students will learn the tools, the skills, and the knowledge so they can thrive and contribute to the betterment of games, growing into the top performers of our industry's future. And in 2025, we are incredibly grateful to Dreamhaven and Take-Two Foundation for their continued support of our scholarship program through the sponsorship and mentorship for our scholars. So applications are open right now until August 29th. So don't wait too long. These are amazing programs. So apply now to be a GGP scholar. And to learn more, make sure you visit the site at dreamhaven.com. And yeah, I mean, these are some amazing programs. Like I mentioned before earlier, these programs in academic institutions haven't always existed. And not only do these programs exist to help students, but it's really bringing people who have been successful in our industry right to the students. So right now, we're about to interview one of our members, Isaac Messinger from Juvenate, and we're going to talk to him about, you know, what it means to win this $12,500. You are a winner, first place. How do you feel?
Hey, thank you so much. I feel absolutely great. Speaking for me and my entire team, we are so happy right now. So thank you guys so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
All right then. So, okay. What was like the best part of this whole experience for you?
I think the best part of the experience generally has to be seeing how it goes from an idea, something that's just on a piece of paper and something that's just people talking about it, and then it getting into the stages of it being a prototype, it being a first playable, and then what it is today, which is like an actual video game. And it's, you know, so cool that, you know, we get to go through that entire process, and, you know, that's the kind of schooling that we got. And, you know, with you guys and the opportunities that we have, we're so grateful for this.
I mean, cinematics in games are like everything. So was there anything that inspired you and your team?
Yeah, we would look at different types of game trailers and just see the pacings for their trailers and stuff. And we, one of my professors was had a film background with advertising, and so he was helping give us some advice on different types of angles and lighting. But I'd say that was the trailer. We did 3 versions of the trailer. The trailer that we sent to you guys was the 3rd. So it was just a bunch of same thing of just, you know, seeing it be on a drawing board and then actually seeing the whole thing come together and it being as beautiful as it is. It's great.
Nice. All right. So, all right, now you have $12,500. What are you gonna do? What kind of games am I gonna see? When am I gonna see that multi-billion-dollar blockbuster hit?
I don't know yet. We haven't really discussed money, but now it's what we are going to be doing, whether we continue doing it with this or we take it into another project. The sky's the limit with this, so we'll have news very shortly.
All right, well, I'm inspired, and congratulations again. I mean,
thank you so
super
much.
Cool. Again, cinematics is the thing that makes you want to play a game, and you have done an excellent job. So congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you. And thank you again for joining us this evening. Next, we're going to have our interactive category, but first we'd like to take a short break to learn a little bit more about GGP and the good that they're doing in our community.
Thank you so much, Keisha, and congratulations to our new winners of the Collegiate Games Challenge. We're just so proud to be here helping lift up the next generation. So GGP is short for Gay Gaming Professionals, and we're a community that's been around almost 2 decades, helping uplift the community through education, employment, expertise, and entrepreneurship. And the way that we do that is through programs, because we believe there's talent everywhere and there's traits that we want to cultivate, like in this case, collaborative competition. That's what we're celebrating today. We have another program called System, which celebrates leadership. And we have another program called GGP Scholars, which celebrates compassion. These are things that we want to have and infuse into our industry for years and years to come. So thank you for being a part of celebrating that today. So you can join us on our Discord, or visit our YouTube, or visit our website at gaygamingpros.org, or visit us in person at Game Developers Conference in March in San Francisco. So we want to thank all of our partners and of course the team that puts us together. So at GGP, I'm going to get everyone today. Mabel, thank you so much. Christopher, who you met earlier, Eric, Joe, Mika, Alex, Clinda. Thank you all for working together to bring this show and making it possible. And of course, our sponsor partners, IGN Entertainment. Thank you for working with us to spread this out to the whole wide world. Of course, Raw Thrills, we talked about before. Eisenberg Group, an incredible agency that's worked with us every step of the way. A16Z's Speedrun. Sensor Tower, providing technology to the business teams to research and do their go-to-market strategies. GamesBeat, Interactive Entertainment Law Group, and of course, our partners at Bad Guy Studios who've been producing this entire live stream for us today. Thank all of you. Now back to you, Keisha.
All right. And once again, a big thank you to GGP and Raw Thrills for organizing and supporting this event. Giving students the direct opportunity to present in front of prominent industry experts is so rare and so valuable, and it really brings the community together to celebrate and challenge ourselves to continue to grow. So let's do just that as we now present our final chapter for the Collegiate Games Challenge, which is interactive. This category is going to focus on producing excellence in student-led game development, as each team has to submit original video games to our panel of expert judges. The interactive category is evaluated by the following criteria. 1, of course, we have to have originality and innovation. 2, gameplay design and player engagement. 3, technical execution and stability. 4, artistic and audio presentation. And lastly, documentation and presentation clarity. Those are some pretty, specific criteria, and I'm pretty sure it was a challenge. So let's take a look at some of our favorite moments from this year's submissions.
Tubular. Nice. Tubular.
Wow. So those submissions were great. And I know it was no easy feat. From technical innovation to creative design, creating interactive experiences is a challenge. And we're going to talk to some of our judges, Ed, Clive, Amir, and Kendall, about what they thought about when they were selecting the top 3 winners. So let's dive right into the conversation. It's so exciting to be speaking with Ed Freeze. You are a freaking legend and you have decades of experience in the game industry. So I am so curious, like, how do you have discernment as it pertains to like originality and innovation within an interactive experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think like all the judges, I'm a gamer at heart. I love this medium. I've been playing games my whole life, and like all gamers, you know, we always want something new. We always want something we've never seen before. You know, we want some new experience, and so that's why that criteria in particular was the highest weighted when we were judging. Was it original and innovative? That category we gave the most points to when we were scoring these things.
All right, excellent. And then another criteria was the technical execution and stability. So how did you sort of judge that particular category?
Yeah, sometimes I like to say that video games have everything that can go wrong with a movie combined with everything that can go wrong with a piece of software. And so, you know, we have to be creative and innovative and original, but we also have to be technically original. We have to be on the cutting edge of what's happening technically. And so in that case, you know, the games have to work. And did they work on our different machines? Or did they work for us judges? Could we set them up and run them? That was very important.
All right then. Well, I really appreciate your insights and that you're judging, you know, this whole process, because new talent, you know, really looks up to some of the work that you've done. And thank you so much for your insights.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
And now we're speaking to Clive. Clive, also, you've had quite a bit of experience in the game industry. So, like, what is it that gives you discernment when it comes to looking at gameplay design?
So, design is really where you translate the idea that you have for a game into an actual hands-on gameplay experience. It's where the mechanics start to express the fantasy or the role you're playing or the world you're in. So when we're looking at how design is being used and implementing features and systems in the game, it's really about how successfully the team has translated its vision into something that the player is experiencing. And even seasoned professionals, incredibly experienced teams can struggle to successfully translate an idea into something that's hands-on playable.
When it comes to like player engagement and the game design, making that an interactive experience, what is it that you are really looking for from these teams?
I think all great games have a sense of kind of flow to them, where the player feels pulled more and more into the gameplay and feels like there's new things to try, new things to discover, new places to go. And even when you're in a gameplay loop where you're using different gameplay mechanics repeatedly to try and master something, really good, successful player engagement is always suggesting to the player there's always something new to discover. And that can be very hard to do in very narrowly focused games. So we're always looking to see how teams have mastered that as well.
All right. And is there anything about developers today that is exciting you? Anything that is new, a new ingredient being added to what makes something compelling and interactive?
Well, the biggest revolution that we're seeing at the moment is that we're moving from a period of very expensive, large-scale AAA productions, which are kind of dominating the market, into an era where, despite the instability of the games industry, there's actually more opportunity for original ideas and small teams than there ever has been before.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Clive. I really appreciate those insights. Amir, you had explosively been in the gaming industry over these last several years. And I mean, from everything that you've created to advocate for developers, I feel like you really understand what it means when it comes to documentation and presentation. So what is it that you really look for? I mean, you've literally played over 2,000 games and you've documented that experience. Like, what does that mean? Like, how does that give you discernment in this particular process?
Definitely. Well, I think there's two different angles to it, right? One would be just the experience of a player in a game and how easy it is to understand everything from getting the game loaded to if there's a beta code to understanding how to move along in the game, tutorialization. But also if I put on my BD hat of looking at games with that frame day in and day out, it's a great skill to adjudicate on because it's not an intuitive thing for many developers. The exciting part is, making the game exciting, making it interesting. A lot of people don't like doing tutorials. They don't think a lot about what they're writing up in terms of documentation. They have to kind of be forced to do it. So you can either have it feel like taking your medicine, or you can think of it as being just as artistic as any of the other components.
Wow, that's a really interesting way to look at it. And because I personally have never looked at documentation as like an artistic process. So do you have any tips for how to like reframe the work around documentation and presentation that could be useful for developers moving forward?
Yeah, so it's a no secret to anyone who has a pulse that I'm a big Nintendo fan. And what I think in terms of documentation and presentation is there's so many great videos out there as one example that everyone can watch of level 1-1 of Super Mario Brothers that's a masterclass, right? Without using any words, without using any formal instruction. The game tells you in a matter of like 3 or 4 minutes everything you need to know about the entire game in terms of how you move, what items are, what enemies are, how you jump. And so I feel like looking at other examples of how, whether it's literal written documentation or clarity of presentation of how a game works and how to enjoy it, studying what other people have done is great. And in 2025, you can find more free resources about that than ever.
Oh my God. That was excellent. I'm motivated now. I got to get better with my documentation. Thank you so much, Amir.
Thank you so much. It's a great topic.
Kendall, you have worked for the blockbusters. You've worked for some of the most iconic companies and the most iconic games. I mean, wow. So when it comes to like artistic and audio presentation, I know you know. So what is it that you were looking at that really sort of, what stands out to you in this category?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, because when you look at, I think games are about, from an art form standpoint, it's an escape to some of us. I think that you want to be immersed into, new worlds and universes. And I think audio and just the world itself is super critical. So when I think of Guilds of Greybook and Everybody's War, trying to think what else from Desecration was another really good one. The audio piece of it is so important, because that is kind of like the backboard that keeps everything from a connective tissue standpoint to where you feel like you're in this world. And so to me, that's super critical, because I want to be taken to new and strange or exciting places. And audio really is that kind of fine line that keeps it tied together.
Awesome. Is there anything that, over the span of the decades that you've been in the video game industry, is there anything new that you're looking at these days, or is there the sort of the tried and true approaches to like making an interactive experience that you're looking at?
Well, I think for me, it's more about, again, just sitting down in front of a huge television or PC monitor and just being able to just escape. And for me, that's where I think of games that are, whether it's The Legend of Zelda or World of Warcraft, those are areas when I hear the music in Goldshire, I know exactly where I'm at, and it transforms me to that place. And so I think if you can have something iconic, or when you think back to the themes from Halo, the music was so iconic. I think that in some ways that's how you're building a brand, and that's how it's expected for your fans and followers. When they hear these moments, they instantly know they're going somewhere that's going to warm their heart and make them happy.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kendall, for sharing some of those insights.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our judges. I mean, that's years of experience offering some wonderful, incredible insights. I mean, I learned something new. And now let's announce our winners. Wow. I mean, these games are freaking amazing. And if you loved what you just saw, you do know you can join the CGC Discord on Thursday nights, right? I mean, and you can start doing that tomorrow. So be sure to join the Discord. We're going to put the link in the chat. And sometimes we'll be playing games and hanging out. And sometimes we'll get to play test some students' games, including the ones you just saw tonight. And sometimes you'll get to hear from some of our awesome judges who are all industry veterans. So keep an eye out in the chat so you can join our Discord. So let's get started. I'm so sad because this is our last category that we're going to be talking about today. So let's talk about who won in our interactive category. So first, third place. Come on, I know you guys are anticipating who the winners are. And this winner is winning $5,000, and it's going to Desecration from Indiana. And so let's get to our second place winner, who's going to win $15,000, and that is going to be Damon from Michigan State University. And for our first place winner, that is going for winning $25,000 for a student game competition. $25,000 is Smoke Break from USC. Congratulations to all of our winners. Be sure to type in chat to share your support for their amazing work. We'd also like to take this time to mention our honorable mentions for the interactive category. So we have to mention character animation and mocap, Velocity from Drexel University. For the game intro experience, Perfect Soup from DePaul University. And then we have Game Systems, and that's going to Guilds of Guilds of Graybrook from Michigan State University. And another honorable mention that we had for innovative concept is Everybody's War, World War I from University of Illinois. And we'll be sitting down with our winner in just a moment. But first, let's take some time to talk a little bit more about how to get involved with GGP. So as we've been talking about, GGP has a very active presence at diverse industry events. Previous events they have attended, or that you'll see GGP represented at, include the Game Developers Conference, Games Beat Summit, the Game Awards, Summer Game Fest, Gamescom. I mean, they are literally everywhere. They are keeping their finger on the pulse. They know where the talent is. They're building community, and they're always represented at the biggest gaming events. And in addition to providing all access passes to GGP and system scholars, GGP hosts several events annually at the Game Developers Conference. So, look out for them this coming year in March. So events honoring and educating our GGP scholars and system scholars, our annual Zero Proof Game Night. So this is our second year doing it, and our annual GGP Kiki, which is, just having fun. And this is our 16th year doing that. And in addition to GDC, our system and GGP scholars celebrate with each other by building projects for the Global Game Jam. GGP has fostered an active community online, connecting and supporting our passionate growing network on the website. You got to go to the website, gaygamingpros.org, Discord, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, represented everywhere. You do not have an excuse to not engage with GGP. Such an amazing resource. And, GGP was founded by video game industry veterans, Brian Ruben Sowers, and of course, Gordon Bellamy. GGP is a leading organization of game industry professionals and enthusiasts from around the world, empowering top performers from underestimated communities. So, you know, like by the end of this event, if you're not interacting with GGP, I'm looking at you. You know, you're missing out on a huge opportunity to build community and to really engage with new talent. It's just a great organization. So now let's say congratulations to Austin of Smoke Break from USC for winning first place. So, hey Austin, congratulations!
Hi. Thank you so much. I'm like shaking a little bit.
I would be shaking too. I would be shaking too if I just won $25,000 for being excellent.
Thank you so much.
You gotta tell me, like, what was like the most challenging part of this process? Because obviously you and your team worked freaking hard to get here. So like, tell me more about what that process looked like.
Of course. So I mean, like, for this project, we more or less had 2 semesters to like pull this through, as well as our summer before that for pre-production. But all throughout, I think our entire team got to learn firsthand just how important the communication is. And how difficult it can be to really portray things between people who are handling so many different moving parts. And, you know, I'm going to take this time to say thank you so much to my team as well for, like, you know, handling all of that, because truly this would not have been possible without all of you. But yeah, the hardest part would definitely be communication and working with each other and working with faculty as well, and making sure all of our ideas are handled right.
I appreciate that so much. I think that we don't talk enough about just human communication. You're dealing with so many differently skilled and differently talented human beings that are all coming together to make something excellent. So like, now that you're a winner, you know, like, what are you gonna do with your $25,000? Or what kind of games are we gonna see from you next? What's the next step?
Well, we're definitely going to figure out how to divvy up the money with like the entire team. And then, well, I'm not sure if we're going to stay cohesively as a studio, given that everyone's in like different years and people are graduating soon. But this will definitely help everyone, I think, get through and graduate, and hopefully all make our own games going forward. So yeah, I'm not quite sure yet, but I'm sure everyone has a bright horizon. So, you know,
I love it. I mean, not that I expect you to figure it out in just this minute. You just found out. What were some of your inspirations throughout this process? I mean, I love games. The categories that we've had for this event have been really incredible. The criteria very specific. So what were some of the inspirations that you and your team looked at?
In regards to like inspirations from like direct other games, I mean, there's things like Untitled Goose Game. Like, we're looking at a lot of silly games to try and like really capture the feeling of just kind of being a menace in society, in regards to how we want to follow that. And thankfully our faculty helped us with like keeping us following our theme. Like, they had us write our entire like theme and put it on the wall to make sure we remember it every time we come in. But I think all of us kept each other inspired, and also other teams who are working on games in our same school, which has just been really inspiring as well. So, yeah.
All right. So, I mean, I guess the long and short of it is teamwork make the dream work, right?
For sure.
It seems like you guys really came together and made something super dope. And again, being a menace, like, that's inspiring to me. So, thank you so much. Thank you again for joining us and talking to us a little bit. And congratulations, first
Thank you
place.
so much.
So, no problem. And, you know, as we bring this celebration to a close, let us take a moment to recognize what this event truly represents. Though it's structured as a competition, at its heart, there is a scholarly endeavor, one that uses the spirit of challenge, not to divide, but to elevate. And it's a conduit for excellence, discovery, and most importantly, and this is what I'm about, community. Every submission, Every presentation, every moment shared here reflects the passion and potential for the next generation of game industry professionals. And 2025, that is everything. That is incredibly meaningful. And we are deeply grateful to our panel of judges and our esteemed experts from across the game industry who generously dedicated their time and insight to this event. Their thoughtful evaluations, because that criteria was, again, very specific. The constructive feedback really helped shape not only the results of the competition, but the continued growth for every participant. Your encouragement, the encouragement from the judges, it really helps light the path forward for these emerging voices. I have to give a sincere thank you to gay gaming professionals, the driving force behind this event. Their commitment to inclusivity, empowerment, and representation in games, bar none, just excellent. It ensures that more voices are not only heard, but celebrated. GGP's dedication makes this space possible. We also extend our heartfelt thanks to Eugene Jarvis and the Raw Thrills team for their incredible support and sponsorship. Without their belief in this mission and the generous contributions, none of this would be possible. And finally, to y'all out there, to all of our viewers, thank you for joining us, for supporting this event, and for being part of a community that believes in the power of games to connect, inspire, and transform. So I am so sorry, but until the next time, this was such a great night. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Greetings, loved one. Let's take